You left me to die. Now you want to split $11 million. That's what I said, standing at the top of the stairs in Vince's mansion, bald, scarred, thinner than they remembered, but breathing. Very much alive. Claire froze in the foyer like she'd seen a ghost. Our daughter Emily behind her, gripping a designer bag like a lifeline, her face pale and unreadable. They didn't expect me to be here. They thought I was either in a hospice or in a grave. You weren't supposed to be here yet, Claire whispered. Wrong words. Very wrong. I stepped down slowly, every footfall echoing through the marble silence. You've got 5 minutes. Then I call security. Or better, the press. Emily looked at me with wide eyes. Dad, wait. We thought you died. I snapped. Yeah, I bet you did. Claire's crocodile tears were already starting. Jack, listen. Shut up. I cut her off. You packed your bags when I was puking my guts out from chemo. You took Emily. You moved in with Preston the moment my diagnosis was confirmed. You told people I didn't want visitors because I was ashamed. You planned my funeral and bought lingerie in the same week. Claire turned red. That's not fair. Oh no. I grinned. What's not fair is screwing your sideboy in my bed while I was too weak to walk. What's not fair is abandoning your husband and parading around like a new widow while I was still clinging to life. Emily stepped forward, trying to hold it together. We didn't know you'd make it. I locked eyes with her. And now you're here. Because you did find out. That Uncle Vince left me everything. $11 million. And suddenly, family matters again. Claire looked like she was about to speak, but then the screen behind me lit up. I clicked the remote. The wall-mounted TV roared to life. It was them, Claire and Preston, on my security footage, inside this very house. 3 months ago. Claire giggling, kissing him, telling him not to worry. He'll be dead by summer, she said on the tape. Then it's just paperwork. His daughter will follow my lead. Trust me. Emily covered her mouth. Claire turned pale. I just sipped my drink. You came back for the money, I said. But what you're getting is the truth and revenge. I watched the blood drain from Claire's face as the footage kept rolling, her voice, so calm, so confident, as she whispered into Preston's ear, once he's gone, I'll marry you. The money's ours. Emily will get over it. I paused the video. Emily couldn't even look at her. Her jaw clenched, eyes locked on the floor like it was about to open up and swallow her whole. She might have been young, confused, but she wasn't stupid. You recorded us? Claire hissed, voice cracking between shock and fury. I recorded you, I said. Uncle Vince had the entire house wired. He didn't trust anyone. Not his lawyers. Not his nurses. And definitely not a gold-digging wife who didn't blink when her husband was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma. I was scared, she shouted. You think it was easy watching you waste away? You were nothing but skin and bone, Jack. You didn't watch, I said coldly. You left. I still remember the day. I was lying in the hospital bed, smelling my own sweat and metal, tubes in my arms, when she walked in perfect makeup, heels clicking on the linoleum floor. She sat down, didn't touch me. Just stared. Jack, she had said, with that distant tone she used whenever she wanted to feel like the victim, this is no way to live. For you or for us. I'm taking Emily. You need space. We'll come back when you're better. Then she left. Just like that. No goodbye kiss. No look back. Just the scent of her perfume lingering like poison. Back in the present, Claire looked at Emily, desperate now. Sweetheart, I only said those things because I didn't think he'd hear them. I was angry. I was hurting. You were planning his funeral while rubbing that guy's chest on a boat. Emily finally spoke. Her voice shook. Don't act like this was grief. You replaced Dad before he was even cold. Claire reached for her, but Emily pulled away. I felt nothing. No joy. No triumph. Just that deep, hollow ache that never really leaves you once the people you love show you how little you ever matter to them. Claire turned back to me. So what now? You play these games? You want revenge? I walked toward the fireplace, took a key from my pocket, and dropped it on the coffee table between us. That opens a safety deposit box downtown. Inside is the rewritten will. I gave up everything Vince left me except this house. The rest is in a trust. You get nothing. Emily gets a chance to earn something if she chooses a life different from yours. Emily looked up, eyes wide. Wait, what? You want the truth? I said. You're still my daughter. I'll never take that from you. But I'm done saving people who left me to die. You want to stay here? Learn who your father really is? Then stay. But if you're here for the check, walk out with her. Claire's breath caught. You can't just. I can, I said. And I did. And then, right on cue, the front door opened again. A man walked in. Tall, built, clean-cut, suit tailored to the thread. Not Preston. Claire's eyes widened. What is this? Meet Aaron, I said. Private investigator. Ex-cop. Licensed to carry. The one who followed you around for the past 6 months. Aaron didn't smile. Just nodded toward Claire. I have video, audio, bank records, phone logs. Enough to build a case for fraud, conspiracy, and emotional abuse. Claire started backing up. You wouldn't. I would, I said. But lucky for you, I'm not pressing charges. I'm giving you a choice. She swallowed. What choice? Leave, I said. Tonight. Don't come back. Don't try to fight for the money. Don't contact Emily unless she reaches out first. You leave, and I burn everything. You stay, and every dirty thing you ever did becomes public. Claire stood there for a moment, frozen. Then she turned, grabbed her bag, and stormed out. The door slammed behind her like a gunshot. Emily sat down slowly, still stunned. Is this real? I nodded. All of it. The silence wrapped around us like a thick blanket. Emily just stared at the flames, and I couldn't read her. Not yet. But at least now, the lies had stopped. And that was something. Emily stayed silent for a long time. Just her breathing and the soft crackle of the fire. I didn't rush her. I didn't have anything left to prove. Finally, she spoke. I didn't know about all of it. I swear. I believed her. Not because I wanted to, but because her voice shook in a way Claire's never did. Emily had been used too. Dragged into Claire's fantasy life, fed lies about how I gave up, how I didn't care, how I was already gone. She was just a teenager then. She believed her mother. I hated you, she admitted, looking straight into the flames. I thought you didn't want to fight anymore. I thought you gave up on me. I exhaled slowly. I never stopped fighting. And I hadn't. Not when the doctors gave me a 5% chance. Not when my body gave out and I had to learn how to walk again. Not even when I got the letter from Vince's attorney informing me that his estate was being handed over. Claire probably celebrated that day with champagne. Emily turned to face me. Can I stay here? I didn't answer right away. My instinct said yes. My pain said no. This house isn't a prize, Em, I said finally. It's a graveyard of truths. If you stay here, you'll see what your mother did, not just to me, but to you. Are you ready for that? She nodded. I need to know who she really is, and who you really are. We sat there for a long time, just sitting. I thought about all the nights I imagined this conversation while lying in a hospital bed. I used to think I'd be angry. I used to plan what I'd say. But in this moment, none of that came out. I was just tired. The next day, Emily and I opened the safe. Inside were 2 things, the will Vince signed with my amendments and a folder. Thick. Labeled Claire, full file. We spent the next 2 hours reading. Receipts. Transfers. Love letters to Preston. Emails where she joked about selling the house after my death. Even a draft prenup she'd sent him titled Post-Jack Life Plan. Emily had to stop reading halfway through. She went to the bathroom and threw up. She really thought you'd die, she said afterward. She made peace with it. Like it was just a formality. She didn't just think it, I said. She counted on it. I showed her the timeline. How Claire had changed the passwords to our joint accounts 2 days after my diagnosis. How she'd called a lawyer to draft separation papers a week later. How she'd moved in with Preston exactly 14 days after that. There were no gaps. No confusion. Just cold execution. Emily's hands trembled. I feel sick. I reached out, hesitated, then placed my hand over hers. You didn't betray me. She did. You believed your mother, because she's your mother. That's not a crime. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. I'm sorry. I know. We didn't talk much the rest of the day. But when I brought in dinner and saw her still sitting at the table, still in the house, I knew she meant it when she said she wanted the truth. That night, as she went to bed in one of the guest rooms, I sat back in the den, glass of scotch in hand, and thought about Claire. She hadn't called. Not yet. But she would. And when she did, she wouldn't be ready for what came next. Because I still had the final card. One last secret. Something neither Claire nor Emily knew. And it wasn't just about the inheritance. It was about why Vince left it to me. And what he made me promise I'd do if she ever came back. She would come back. They always do. 3 days passed. No calls. No texts. No sign of Claire. But I could feel her circling. She was too predictable to just walk away. When someone like her smells money, they don't disappear, they recalculate. She was regrouping. planning the next move. Emily stayed, quiet, but present. She helped around the house, asked a few guarded questions, and mostly kept to herself. But every now and then, she'd glance at me like she was trying to solve a puzzle with too many missing pieces. On the fourth day, the phone rang. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. 30 seconds later, it rang again. Same number. Third time, I picked up. "I need to talk to you," Claire said. No hello, no pleasantries. Her voice was sharp, almost breathless. "Face to face." "No," I said. "Say it now." "It's about the inheritance. About Vince." She always knew how to bait the hook. "You have 5 minutes." "I know something you don't. Something about why he left you everything. You think you have it all figured out, Jack, but you don't. You're being played." I laughed. "You think there's a bigger fish than you? That's adorable." "I'm serious. If you want the full picture, meet me at the marina. Pier 19. Tonight." "Alone." She hung up. Emily was in the doorway. She must have heard enough. "She's lying," she said. "She always is." "Are you going?" I hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, but not because I believe her. Because I want to see what her last move looks like." That night, I arrived at the marina just before 10. Claire was already there, standing by the railing in a trench coat again, like some Badmore film. Her hair perfectly styled. Lipstick too red. She turned when she saw me. "You came alone?" "No," I said. "He's in the car." I nodded toward the black SUV behind me. Aaron was there, watching, recording, ready. Claire didn't even flinch. She'd expected that. "What's this big secret?" I asked. "Let's hear it." She stepped closer. "Vince didn't just leave you everything out of love. He left it to spite someone. To settle an old score. He told me once." "Stop." I held up my hand. "You're reaching. Vince didn't even like you." Her mouth tightened. "He liked me more than you think." That's when I saw it, the shift in her eyes. She wasn't here to warn me. She was here to test me. To see what I didn't know. "I already know about the safe deposit boxes," I said calmly. "All 3. She blinked. Just for a moment. Just enough. "Yeah," I continued, "the one in New York, the one in Miami, and the one in Zurich. With the offshore account. The letters. The signed affidavit. You didn't think he'd keep records?" Claire's face cracked. "You're bluffing. Try me." She stepped back. Her posture changed. The game was up. "You think this is over?" She spat. "You think money makes you untouchable?" "No," I said. "But the truth does." She glared. "I'll sue. I'll drag Emily with me. She's still a minor in most states." "She's 17, I cut in. 1 more month, and she's out of your reach. And trust me, any lawyer you hire will run when they see what I have on you." Claire's eyes burned. "You were supposed to die." I smiled. "Yeah, well, sorry to disappoint." She stormed off down the pier, heels clicking like gunshots. I didn't follow. Back home, Emily was waiting. She didn't ask questions. Just nodded. "She tried to shake you?" "She tried to scare me. Didn't work." We sat down. The fire was low, casting long shadows across the room. "She's not done," Emily said. "No, but we are." Because what Claire didn't know, what I hadn't told anyone yet, was what was really in Vince's final envelope. Not money, not assets. A letter. Handwritten. Dated 6 months before he died. It started like this. "Jack, you're the only one I trust. If Claire ever shows up after I'm gone, don't let her walk out without seeing the footage from that night in Vegas." I hadn't opened that folder yet, but I would. And when I did, everything would change. The next morning, I opened the envelope. I waited until the house was quiet, Emily still asleep upstairs. The fire had gone cold in the hearth. I sat in Vince's old leather chair, the one he used to sit in while he drank bourbon and gave me life advice I was too young and too stupid to listen to at the time. The folder was thick. Labeled simply, "Vegas, do not show to lawyers." Inside were a series of printed stills, security footage screenshots, receipts, a USB stick taped to the last page. My hands trembled a little as I plugged it into the laptop. It was dated 2 years ago. Claire was in a hotel suite, the Bellagio, smiling, wearing a black dress I'd never seen before. She was with Vince. Preston was there too, shirtless, drunk, laughing. The video had no audio, but the body language was clear. Vince wasn't just being friendly with her. He was testing her. He held out an envelope. She took it, smiled, counted the money. She kissed him on the cheek, then whispered something in his ear. Vince didn't react, but he turned to the camera. He knew it was recording. There were timestamps. Claire had visited him 3 times during that trip, always without telling me. I played another file. Vince, in his study, talking straight into the camera. "Jack," he said, looking thinner, older. "If you're watching this, it means I'm dead, and Claire has crawled back into your life. Maybe with Emily. Maybe without. But either way, I want you to see what she did. Not just you to me." He sighed. "I offered her a fake investment deal. Told her I was dying. That I wanted to move some assets in her name. Told her she'd get $2 million if she kept it quiet from you. She didn't hesitate. She took the bait, signed fake documents, even agreed to meet me again to finalize the paperwork." He paused, then added, "She sold you out, Jack. For a lie. For a briefcase full of fake money. She didn't even blink." I sat there, frozen. Vince had set her up. A loyalty test. One I never even knew about. I scrolled through the screenshots again. There she was, laughing with Preston, popping champagne in a suite Vince paid for. There was no grief. No worry. No guilt. Claire had been gone long before I got sick. I leaned back in the chair, closed my eyes, and let the silence wrap around me. Later that day, Emily came downstairs. Her face was pale. She called me. I looked up. What did she say? She said you were manipulating me. That you're only showing me what you want me to see. That she's got proof that you're lying. I didn't answer right away. Just reached over, picked up the USB stick, and handed it to her. "Watch it," I said. "Alone. Then decide." She took it without a word and went back upstairs. An hour later, I heard her sobbing through the walls. Not crying sobbing. She didn't come out for dinner. I didn't force it. At midnight, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Claire, you bastard. I hope you rot." Followed by another. "Claire, you think this is over? It's not. You destroyed my life." And then one more. "Claire, I loved you. Once." I stared at the last message for a long time, then deleted all 3. I didn't need her love. I didn't need her hate. She could scream into the void all she wanted. She was never coming back through my door again. But that wasn't the end. Not yet. Because Preston had just landed at JFK, and I had someone waiting for him at baggage claim. Preston looked exactly like I remembered. Smug, polished, sunglasses on indoors, like some Wall Street parody. He stepped through the arrival gate with a small black duffel bag and the same cocky grin he wore the first time I saw his face plastered all over Claire's Instagram. But this time, he wasn't walking into a resort with his arm around my wife. He was walking into a trap. Aaron approached from the side, wearing a fake airport badge and a neutral smile. "Mr. Preston Chase?" Preston barely glanced at him. "Yeah." Aaron handed him a folded piece of paper. "You've been served." Preston unfolded it. The smirk vanished. His brows tightened as he scanned the words. "Asset seizure notice. Fraud investigation. Ties to Claire Bennett. Suspected collusion regarding forged estate documents and financial manipulation of a vulnerable individual. Me." Preston looked up, eyes darting around. "What the hell is this?" But Aaron was already walking away, camera still rolling. Preston shouted something, then bolted toward the exit. That was his mistake. Outside, 2 uniformed officers waited. They didn't arrest him yet. They just invited him in for questioning, part of an ongoing inquiry into a pattern of manipulation and suspected elder abuse involving multiple parties. The elder? Vince. And Vince's death? Well, let's just say there were now questions. When I got the call that Preston was in a holding room downtown, I didn't smile. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt tired. Because revenge, as sweet as it sounds, doesn't heal what betrayal breaks. Emily came into my office that evening, USB stick still in her hand. Her eyes were red but focused. I watched everything. I nodded. "I don't know who I'm more angry at. Her or myself." "Don't be angry at yourself." "I was blind," she said. "She told me you were cold. That you stopped caring. That you told her to go." I sighed. "That's what liars do, Emily. They dress up their shame in your skin and call it protection." She sat across from me, looking smaller than ever. "What do we do now?" "We rebuild," I said. "One truth at a time." A long silence passed. "Do you still love her?" she asked quietly. That question felt like a blade. "No," I said. "Not anymore. I loved the version of her I thought was real. But that woman doesn't exist." Emily nodded. "I want to stay here. Not just for the money. I want to understand you. Who you really are." I didn't speak for a moment. Then I said something Vince once told me. "Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you deciding not to let their poison live in your veins anymore. Emily looked at me. Can I ask you something hard? Of course. If she hadn't left, if she stayed during the cancer, would you have forgiven her for everything else? That question caught me off guard. I looked down at my hands, the scars, the reminders of every fight I'd been through. I don't know, I admitted. Maybe. But she didn't stay. That's what defines her. Not the lies. Not Preston. Not the money. She left when it counted. That's who she is. The doorbell rang. We both looked at each other. I stood up and walked to the door. Opened it. It wasn't Claire. It was a courier. He handed me an envelope, said nothing, and walked away. Inside was a single sheet of paper. No return address. Just 5 typed words. You should have died, Jack. No signature. I turned the envelope over. Nothing. Emily read it over my shoulder. What is that supposed to mean? I don't know, I said. But I did. That wasn't Claire's tone. That wasn't her style. This was someone else. Someone I hadn't accounted for. And just like that, everything shifted again. I didn't sleep that night. The note sat on the kitchen table under a glass, untouched, like a bomb with no timer. Emily had gone to bed after a late dinner, her head heavy with everything we'd uncovered, but I stayed up, circling the house. Lights off. Scotch in hand. Mind spinning. You should have died, Jack. Not Claire's style. She was loud when she was angry, dramatic when cornered. That note wasn't dramatic. It was surgical. Precise. Cold. I pulled up the security footage from the front porch. The courier had worn a hoodie, head down, gloves on. No face, no fingerprints, and he'd walked away too quickly to get a license plate. But he knew where to deliver it. That meant someone close. Someone who knew where I lived. I called Aaron. Told him about the note. You think it's Preston? He asked. No, I said. He's too sloppy. This felt different. Aaron paused. Want me to check into Claire's family? Anyone else with a grudge? I nodded. Start with her brother. Kyle Bennett. Ex-con, 5 years for fraud and wiretapping. Got out early for good behavior. Claire always said he was a misunderstood genius. That was code for dangerous sociopath with a suit and a plan. Aaron started digging. By morning, I had coffee on and no answers. Emily walked in, hair tied up, hoodie over her pajamas. She poured a cup and sat across from me. You look like you haven't blinked since last night. I didn't. She pointed at the note. Still thinking about it? I know who didn't write it, but I don't know who did. She stared at it for a second, then said, I think Mom's scared. That surprised me. Why? She called again last night. Left a voicemail. She sounded off. Panicked. Not like her usual manipulative self. She kept saying things like, I didn't know, and he promised no one would get hurt. My stomach sank. Who's he? Didn't say. But I don't think she meant Preston. I stood up. We need to go. Pack a bag. You're not staying here tonight. Emily's eyes widened. Wait, you think someone's coming? I think someone already has. We left within the hour. I brought her to a friend's cabin 2 hours north, deep woods, gated road, no cameras. I didn't tell her everything, just that I needed her safe until I figured out who was behind the note. When I got back to the estate that night, I found the second envelope taped to the back door. This time, it wasn't typed. It was handwritten. Sloppy. Furious. You ruined everything. Vince promised. It was supposed to be mine. He told me. He promised. Now it's all F***ed because you lived. No signature. But now I knew. Kyle. I remembered the stories Vince used to tell about Kyle begging for loans, claiming he had investments. One time he even tried to guilt Vince into co-signing a property in Reno. Vince laughed him out the door. But maybe Vince said more than I realized. Maybe he did dangle the estate in front of him to keep him close, to use him, and Kyle, in his delusion, thought it was a promise. And when Vince died, and the will named me, that dream shattered. But it got worse. I went into Vince's study, unlocked the bottom drawer of the desk, and pulled out an old box labeled KB. Inside were letters. Dozens. All from Kyle. Some begging. Some threatening. And one that chilled me to my bones. If Jack's still alive when you're gone, you've betrayed me. You said this was mine. I won't let him take it. You owe me. And if you don't fix it, I will. It was dated 2 months before Vince died. And signed. Kyle. I sat back, heart pounding. Claire hadn't just left me. She'd handed me over, knowingly or not, to a man who wanted me dead. And he wasn't finished. I spent the next 48 hours preparing. Not running. Not hiding. Preparing. Kyle wasn't just angry, he was desperate. A desperate man with nothing to lose is the most dangerous kind there is. And this wasn't about inheritance anymore. This was about revenge. About delusion. About him thinking I took something he was owed. I moved Emily again. Didn't tell her where I was going. I just told her to keep her phone off and stay with the only person I trusted besides Aaron. My brother Nate, ex-Marine, lives off-grid. She didn't argue. She was scared now. Not just of her mother, or the truth, but of what might come next. Aaron traced Kyle's last known address to a cabin near Lake Arrowhead. Isolated. Surveillance cameras were up around the perimeter, but Aaron was good. We hacked one, got a feed. Kyle was there. Alone. Rambling to himself in the yard. When I showed up, I didn't come with cops. I didn't come with threats. I came with the box. The letters. And a camera. He opened the door, surprised to see me, but not afraid. "You're a dead man," he said, not even blinking. "Already heard that. Twice." I held up the box. "Thought you might want your delusions back." He grabbed it, opened it, saw the letters, and smiled. "He promised." "You read it." "He promised me. He said I was family. I was blood." "You were his embarrassment," I said. "You lied. Stole. Tried to manipulate him." "This box? It's evidence of your obsession, not your right." His smile faded. "I know what you tried to do during my treatment. The missing meds. The falsified hospice forms. You weren't just waiting for me to die. You were helping it along." He didn't deny it. "You don't get it, Jack," he said, voice rising. "He told me this estate was going to be my redemption. That I just had to be patient. Then you show up, the golden boy with your sob story and your ****ing cancer, and suddenly it's all about you again." "You're going to jail," I said calmly. "Every move you made is documented. Every threat. Every bribe. Every missing vial of chemo medication. You failed, Kyle. You tried to kill a dying man, and still lost." He lunged. Aaron came from behind and slammed him into the ground. Cuffed him in under 4 seconds. It was over. He screamed as they dragged him away. Said it wasn't fair. Said I'd stolen his life. But I hadn't stolen anything. I survived. That was the difference. Claire disappeared after that. Rumors said she fled to Costa Rica. I didn't chase. I didn't care. Emily stayed with Nate for a while, finished her semester online, came back in the summer. We started rebuilding. Slowly. Honestly. In Vince's house? I sold it. Didn't want the ghosts. Didn't need the grandeur. I bought a modest place in the mountains with a view of the lake and a porch swing Emily loved to read on. People always ask me why I didn't press charges on Claire. Why I let her walk. Simple. She already lost the only currency she cared about: money, power, control. Kyle was in prison. Preston was bankrupt, sued by 3 of his former firms. And Claire? She became exactly what she feared most: irrelevant. Sometimes silence is the loudest punishment of all. If you're reading this and going through your own storm, listen carefully. If someone leaves you in your darkest hour, don't beg them to come back in your light. Because survival isn't revenge. It's the ultimate rewrite.